Hello and welcome to our BHL Flickr upload training where I will show you how to upload from start to finish a book to the Biodiversity Heritage Library Flickr. So let's get started. Now before you begin, there are a couple of preliminary steps that you need to take care of before you can upload to Flickr. First, you need to sign up to participate via our Flickr uploaders form, and then there are two accounts that you will need to obtain access to. You will need to obtain a BHL Administrative Dashboard account, and you will need to obtain a BHL Gemini account. You can find the link to that Flickr uploaders form, as well as information on how to obtain those two accounts for the Administrative Dashboard in Gemini by going to the link that you see on the slide there, s.si.edu/BHL Access. Go to that page to fill out that form and request those two accounts. You must do these three things before you can proceed any further with Flickr uploading. Additionally, there are a couple of important documents that you need to review. First, our Flickr policy, which as it sounds, of course, outlines our policy and guidelines for Flickr. That can be found at s.si.edu/BHL Flickr policy. Make sure you read that and are familiar with it before you begin uploading. We also have two versions of training available. The first, of course, is what you're watching now, a video training. The direct link to this video tutorial can be found at that third bullet point. So if you need to refer to it again, you can find it at that link. We also have a written form of Flickr upload instructions available at that second link, s.si.edu/Flickr upload guide. If in the future you want to be able to quickly refer to some written instructions, you can find it at that link. So I encourage you to bookmark all three of these links for access, but definitely make sure you review that Flickr policy before you begin uploading. One of the really important things included in that Flickr policy is a do's and don'ts table. I've added a screenshot of part of that do's and don'ts table to the slide, but it's a really nice summary of what you should and should not do in Flickr. The full table is available in the policy at s.si.edu/BHL Flickr policy. Make sure you're familiar with that table before you begin uploading. So before you begin uploading to Flickr, of course, what you're going to need to do is find things that you can upload. So before I dig into exactly how to upload, I want to go over what content is eligible for Flickr and how you find things to upload. So first, what is eligible for Flickr? Books are eligible to be uploaded to our Flickr if, first, they were contributed in BHL by a BHL participating contributor. So at that link that you see there, biodiversitylibrary.org/browse/contributors, the first section on that page is BHL participating contributors. Any institution that is listed under that section, their books are eligible for Flickr. If you're looking at a book in BHL that was contributed by an institution that isn't part of that participating contributors list, that book is not eligible for Flickr. So that's the first criteria. The second is that the book must be either public domain or have no known copyright restrictions as determined through due diligence. Later in the training, I'll show you how to determine the copyright status of the books in BHL. So books must meet both of those criteria in order to be eligible for Flickr. Now, what kind of images are Flickr worthy? We are looking for images that are generally full page plates, and those can be either color or uncolored illustrations or high quality photographs about biodiversity subjects. We're not looking for you to upload illustrations within text, so pages that have both a lot of text and illustrations, we're not looking for that. So that gives you an idea of the sorts of images that we are looking for Flickr. So that is the content that's eligible for Flickr. Now, how do you actually find things that you can upload? This slide lists the three general ways that you can find content for Flickr. Before I dig into this, I want to highlight that that third method, Gemini, is the primary way that we want you to use to find candidates for Flickr. And in fact, if you are a new uploader, you should only use that Flickr request pool in Gemini to find candidates. But to go over these a little more in general, three ways you can find candidates for Flickr are to work with your institution to determine priorities to upload. You can identify books according to your institutional priorities as long as they meet those eligibility requirements that we just went over. Secondly, on occasion, the Outreach and Communication Manager may request upload of specific content to support social media activities, fundraising activities, campaigns, that sort of thing. The Outreach and Communication Manager will communicate directly with the Flickr upload group on any of those sorts of requests. And then the last one, as I've just emphasized, is our Flickr request pool in Gemini. If you're not familiar with Gemini, it's BHL's issue tracking system that we use to, for example, coordinate workflow across our consortium. As I've already told you, having a Gemini account is one of the prerequisites for uploading to Flickr. Within that Gemini system, we maintain a workspace that is a group of tickets or issues that represent requests for things to be uploaded to Flickr. All of those requests have already been vetted to match our eligibility for Flickr, so they are all eligible to be uploaded. That request pool is the best way to find candidates to upload to Flickr. And again, if you are a new uploader, you should only be looking at that request pool to find things to upload. So let's say you've gotten all the accounts you need, you filled out the Flickr form, you're now familiar with what's eligible for Flickr, you've read our policy and everything, you're ready to begin uploading. What do you do? Well, your first step, of course, should be to go to that Flickr request pool in Gemini. You can find that pool directly at the link that I've included on this slide. Now, before I click on it, I just want to point out, in this training, I will be showing you everything that you need to know for Gemini in order to do your Flickr work. But if you want to learn more about how to interact within Gemini more broadly, or if you're going to be needing to do tasks beyond Flickr uploading in Gemini, you will want to familiarize yourself with the Gemini guide, that tutorial that's linked there, s.si.edu/BHL Gemini. That will show you how to work more broadly within Gemini. So take a look at that if you need to, but in this training, I'll show you everything you need to do for at least the Flickr uploading. So you're going to click on that link or go to that link to access the Flickr request pool. Now, if you're not logged in, when you go to that pool, you won't see anything. You're going to need to log in. So you'll click login. The account that you've been given access to, you'll click login on that. And once you're logged in, at that link, you will see the list of all of the requests waiting to be uploaded to Flickr. At the time of this training, you can see there were 340 issues. Now, you can access this queue by going directly to the URL, or at any time when you're within Gemini. On the left-hand side, you'll see this little square box that says Flickr on it. Clicking on that will take you directly to this queue as well. So that's an easy way you can navigate back to it if you need to. Now, in order to find something to upload from this queue, you can assign yourself and choose any ticket or any item that is listed in this queue that has not already been assigned to someone. A ticket has been assigned if in the resources column you see somebody's name next to it. Any ticket that has a name next to it in the resources column that's already been claimed, that's not available for you to upload, but any ticket that doesn't have a name listed next to it is eligible and you can claim it to upload. So for instance, this first ticket here, there's nobody assigned to it. So I'm going to use that one for the tutorial. To open a ticket, you click on the issue number in Gemini, and that will open the details of it. Now, as you'll see, I've already been working on this ticket before, so I've got a comment on it that we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. But in general, when you open the ticket, what you'll find are details about what's being asked to be uploaded. In this particular case, 2 volumes are being requested, volume 2 and volume 3, and there are direct links to each of those items within BHL. So this request is for you to upload these 2 particular volumes. So if you find a ticket that you want to work on, the way that you claim it is you assign yourself as a resource to the issue. So you're going to click on the resources place, you're going to type your name out, you're going to click the check mark, and now this issue has been assigned to you. Nobody else can upload it. You've claimed it. You've said, I am going to work on it. Now, please note that if you are a new uploader, so you've never uploaded anything to the BHL Flickr before, you're going to be assigned one of the issues in this Flickr request pool for your first upload. And you're also going to be assigned a mentor to answer any questions you might have during the upload process and to QA your first upload. So you'll receive these assignments when you are granted access to the BHL Flickr password if you are a new uploader, so be on the lookout for that. If you're a new uploader and you're going to have this mentor process put in place for you, when you are assigned the issue, you'll see that both yourself as well as your mentor will be assigned to the issue. So you'll see your name as well as your mentor's name under the resources column. And if you have any questions during the upload process, your mentor is there to help guide you through them. You can leave your questions for your mentor by adding a comment to the issue. So you'll see that there's a comment section down here. You leave a comment by clicking on add. This is where you'd type out your question that you have for your mentor, click add. Your comment will then be added. So the way Gemini works is when you are assigned to an issue, you receive email alerts whenever the issue you're assigned to is updated. For example, when a comment is added. So since both you and your mentor are going to be assigned to this ticket, if you leave a comment asking a question, your mentor will receive an email alert letting them know you've left a question. They can then come in, take a look at your question, and leave another comment giving you guidance or support or answering your question, and then you'll receive an email alert when they leave their comment. So definitely be sure to pay attention to your email alerts, but if you're a new uploader, that's how it's going to work. You'll be assigned an issue and a mentor, and that mentor is there to help answer your questions. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this later too, but also if you're a new uploader, once you've finished your upload, you're going to leave a comment with the link to the Flickr album you uploaded and a notification to your mentor that that is ready to be QA'd. The mentor will then go check out your album, make sure it looks good. If there are any issues, they'll leave you a comment directing what you need to change in the album, or if it looks good, they'll let you know that it looks good. So if you're a new uploader, be aware that you're also going to need to have that QA step as the last step in your process. All right, so that's sort of how Gemini works, how you claim a ticket, how you leave comments if you need to, how the email alerts and the mentorship process will work if you're a new uploader. So now, how do we actually upload? So you've done the step, you've identified the item. In this particular case, volume 2 and 3 were requested. You can see that I previously uploaded volume 3. So now I'm going to work on uploading volume 2, the last item in this request. So this is the item that I'm going to work on in BHL that I accessed by clicking on the link in the Gemini issue. So in order to upload this book, you're going to need to go to the BHL Administrative Dashboard. Remember, that's the other account besides Gemini that we said you needed for Flickr uploading. To get to the Administrative Dashboard, you're going to go to admin.biodiversitylibrary.org, and you will log in with the account that you got in order to do the Flickr uploading. And when you log in, this is the screen that you will see. So in order to upload the book, you're going to need to know the item ID for the book that you want to upload. You can find that item ID in the URL for the book. So this URL in BHL, the number that is after item / that is the item ID for this book. That's what you're going to need to upload it. You'll copy that item ID. Under library functions, go to items, search for that item ID, and then double check. So I see that this is volume 2. I see that it is public domain. As an aside, you can see that there. And I see that it is the title that we're looking for. So I have verified that this is the correct book that I want to upload. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to the pages section and you're going to hit the paginate this item button. That will take you to the pagination screen where you can begin the upload process. Now, one thing that I want to point out is that before you can upload an item to Flickr, it needs to be fully paginated. That means that it needs to have all of the page numbers, all of the plate numbers, all of the blank pages fully articulated within the book. So for the sake of time within this video, I selected a book that had already been fully paginated. So I'm not going to show you how to actually paginate during this tutorial. If you do not know how to paginate in BHL and you've selected a book that needs to be paginated, you're going to need to refer to the pagination guide to learn how to do that. The link to that guide is here on the slide, s.si.edu/BHL pagination. So refer to those instructions if you need to, and make sure your item is fully paginated before you begin. But as I explained for this tutorial, I already know I've checked this book has been fully paginated. It's ready to go, and the pages have already been articulated, each of the plate numbers there at the end. So to get started, what you're going to want to do is lock this item for editing. What that does is it basically claims this item for you right now so that nobody else can work on it while you're working on it. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to scroll through the book, and you're going to want to check each of the images that you want to upload to Flickr. Just click the little checkbox that's next to the image icon. You can see a preview of any of the pages that you're working on by clicking on the little page icon, and it'll show you that image in the screen over here. Now remember, as we've discussed, generally speaking, we are only looking for full page plates, either color or uncolored illustrations or high quality photographs, to be uploaded to Flickr. If the book has a decorative cover, you can also upload that cover, but we are not uploading book plates or end papers, and we are not uploading illustrations or photos within the text. So you want to go through and you want to check every single image in the book that matches those Flickr-worthy criteria that we're looking for, but you don't want to select anything in the book that doesn't match those. So anything that's an end paper, anything that's an illustration within the text. So if this wasn't a book that you paginated yourself, you're going to want to actually go through it page by page to make sure everything that says, that it's a plate actually is and is actually eligible and something that you want to upload. Since I selected this book for this tutorial, I've already done that. I've already gone through and made sure that everything that is listed as a plate really is a plate and that it's something that I want to upload. So you're going to continue to go through the entire book and check each of those things until you've completed selecting all of the images that are eligible for Flickr. Once you've gone through and selected every image that you want to upload to Flickr, you're going to come down to the Flickr upload section. Now here you have the option to rotate the images when they're uploaded to Flickr if you need to. So if, for instance, the images in the book are all in landscape format, and to be correct side up, they should be portrait, you can change the orientation when they're uploaded to Flickr here. In my case, the images are already oriented correctly, so I don't need to do that, but you can there if you need to. Once you've selected the correct orientation, you're going to click Upload. Once you hit Upload, if you're not already signed into Flickr, you'll need to sign in at this point. And then after you sign in, it will ask you to authorize the upload. So you're going to need to say, okay, I'll authorize it. So you're going to want to make sure that you leave this browser window open the entire time while the images are uploading. Don't close it. You can see the progress of the images being uploaded there. Now, one thing I'll note, that if you have pop-up blockers on your browser, that may prevent the "okay, I'll authorize it" window from showing up. If you don't get the authorize window, check your pop-up browser settings to make sure that they're set so that that window can pop up and you can select that you'll authorize it. A couple of other things to note while we're waiting for this to upload. Sometimes Flickr can be a bit buggy and the upload process might fail before it is complete. If that happens, you'll be taken back to the pagination screen. So you'll just be taken back to this screen. Now, one of the things that's nice about our Flickr process is when images are uploaded, they'll have a little Flickr icon next to them. So you can see I had already started uploading this album as we're doing it over here, and the Flickr icon is added next to each page that has been uploaded. So if your upload process gets interrupted for some reason and you get added back to the screen, what you're going to want to do is just come back to find where the pages are no longer uploaded to Flickr, select them again, and then come and resume the upload process. So just be prepared that you might need to do that, and that's how you take care of it if that happens. And then the other thing is, because we all use the same Flickr account for our upload activities, it's all under the BHL Flickr account. That means that sometimes multiple people might be logged into the account at the same time, and that can sometimes cause confusion on Flickr's end, and you might end up getting logged out unceremoniously. Again, if that happens, just log in again and continue with what you were doing. If it interfered with your upload process, you can just do what I showed you just now and go back and find the last thing that was uploaded on your item, select the other things that need to be uploaded, and begin the upload process again. So just a couple of things to keep in mind while your content is being uploaded. So as you can see, we've just about finished uploading all of our illustrations to Flickr. You'll just want to let it finish out with the last couple of images being uploaded. And then as you'll see, as soon as all of the images are uploaded, you'll automatically be taken back to that pagination screen. What you're going to want to do is, like I showed you before, that Flickr icon is added next to each image that was uploaded. You're going to want to scroll through the pagination box and just make sure that you see that Flickr icon next to every image that you expect to see it next to make sure that everything was uploaded as expected. If you see that and you're all good, you're done with the upload process through the pagination box, and what you can go ahead and do is click complete next to pagination status, and that will mark that you finished doing your work here, and it will also add your name to it so that we can keep a record of who was the last person to work on this. So you've now uploaded the images to Flickr. The next step is actually curating the images within Flickr, and to do that, you're going to need to go to the Flickr organizer. You can find that at flickr.com/photos/organize. So if you need to, you log in, and that will take you to the organizer screen where we can begin creating our album, adding our metadata, changing the licensing, adding tags, and adding our collection, our images to the appropriate collection. So our first step is going to be to select all of the images from the book that we just uploaded. The easiest way to do this is to come to the Content drop-down menu and select to see only content uploaded today. That will at least narrow down what is being shown to you. Now, if you've uploaded other items today, or if other people are also working in Flickr right now and uploading items, what's shown down here may not only be the books, the images from the book that you just uploaded, but this will at least make it a little easier. So you want to select each of the images from the book you just uploaded. You select the images by clicking on them. You can select multiple images at once that are in a row by clicking the first image you want to select, the last image, holding down Shift, and that will select everything within that particular row. You can also select images that are not in order by either holding down the Control button on a PC or the Command button on a Mac, and that will allow you to select multiple images at once. So for me, I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to start scrolling through to where I can get to all of the images that I want to upload. So you're going to select all of the images and drag them into the batch organizer area. So when you're finished, in the batch organizer should be every image from the book that you just uploaded. So from here, the first thing that we're going to do is add tags to these images. So in the batch organizer area, you'll see an add tags option. If you click on that, it will bring a pop-up box where you can add tags to all of the images that you're working on. So this is batch. Anything you add in here is going to add tags to all of the images. So make sure you only include things here that would be appropriate for every image. Now, a couple of things to note. The image's permanent URL in BHL, the BHL page ID, subject headings pulled from the title record in BHL, and the contributing institution are automatically added as tags to all images as part of the upload process. So you don't need to add those, but if there are any additional tags that apply to all of the images, you'll add them now. These tags are an important way to make these images more discoverable for our users, so be sure to add any that you think might be useful. As it tells you here, individual tags should be separated by a space, and you should put quotation marks around any multi-word tags to make sure they stay together. So for this item in my example, botany, Brazil, and Palme are all subject headings on the record for this title in BHL, so those are keywords that were automatically added to the images. I don't need to add those now. However, plant is another keyword that's not already on these images that I think would be good to add, so I can add that here. I'm separating with a space, and then I happen to know that all of the images from this album or this volume were about Brazilian palms. So I am also going to add that as a tag, and I'm going to put quotation marks around it to make sure those two words are added as a single tag. So you'll want to continue to do that until you've done all tags that you want to add. And then when you're finished, hit add tags, and that's going to add those tags to every single image in this batch organize area. So you'll want to let that process complete. It'll give you a little progress bar there so you can see the number of images that it is adding the tags to and how many are left to be added to. Give that a minute to complete. And when you're finished, you can say thanks. So that's batch tags. The next thing that we want to do is add individual tags to images. At this point, you can also choose if there are specific tags that only apply to a certain image. You can add that now. And the way you do that is go to Edit Photos, Tags, Titles, and Descriptions. That will bring up an interface that lists each one of the illustrations individually. And you can see each one has a tags text box option that shows you all of the tags that are already associated with that image. So as I told you, the keywords that are on the title record in BHL are passed as tags. You can see those there. The contributing institution, the BHL page URL, and then at the end here you see all of the tags that I just added as batch tags. So to add more tags to any image, you just come to the end of that row, hit a space, and then you're going to be able to start adding more tags to that specific image. So we'd love it if for each image you could add both common name tags as well as species name tags and artist name tags to your images. Now, common names can be added just as a normal tag like you would with any other sort of keyword tags. But as I'll show you in a second, we do request that the species and artist names be added as machine tags. So let's first start with the common name. So I'm going to use this image as my example. I happen to know that this particular image is known in Spanish under the common name Contilla. So I am going to type that in. Now, also we want to add those machine tags that I mentioned for species name and artist. So what exactly are machine tags? Well, machine tags are tags that are specially formatted to be able to be read by computers. Due to the formatting, a computer knows that the content included in that tag is a species name or it is an artist name. These tags significantly improve the discoverability of our images. So this slide shows the formatting for these two types of tags. So the formatting for species name machine tags is taxonomy : binomial equals genus species, and remember, put quotation marks around the whole thing because you have multiple words in there. You want it to be added as a single tag. So an example of a species name machine tag is taxonomy : binomial equals ZMAs. That's the machine tag I would use if I were tagging an illustration of corn. Similar format for artists. The format for artist name machine tags is artist : name equals first name, last name. Again, quotations around the whole thing. So if I were tagging an illustration that was done by the artist Elizabeth Gould, I would add the tag artist : name equals Elizabeth Gould with quotations around everything. So those are machine tags and what they look like, and we would love it if you could add these sorts of machine tags to the images as you're uploading them. So to come back to this illustration that I was working on, so I've added my common name. I also happen to know the binomial for this particular image, the species that is depicted in this image. So I'm going to type that in here. I also happen to know the artist for this particular image. So I am also going to type that in here. And I'm putting quotation marks around everything. I am separating all of my tags by a space. So go through, add the tags to each individual image as you want to and as you can. And then when you're finished, you can hit save and be done. Now, I'm not going to, for this example, go through every single illustration to show you this. I think you get the point. I also do want to say that if you don't have the time to add individual tags to each image at the time of upload, that's okay. This is really awesome to tag. These tags are really useful, but you can also add tags later through the public interface. And we do ask our users to help us tag images in this way. So if you don't have the time to do these tags now, that's okay. If you do, this would be a really great thing to have. So I'm finished now. I'm going to hit save and be done. So that's going to work on saving the tags that I've added to each image. When it's finished, I'll be able to say thanks, and it's taking me back to the batch organizer screen. So I'm finished with adding tags. Now what I need to do is organize my images into an album. So as we've said, we upload all eligible images from a book to Flickr, and all of the images from the same book should be organized into an album for that book. So my organizer screen still has selected all of the images from the book I uploaded. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Add to Album, New Album. This will take me to the interface where I can create my album. The first thing I'm going to want to do is add bibliographic metadata for our book to our album description. And we can get that bibliographic metadata from BHL. What you're going to want to get is the book title, and if it's applicable, the volume number and the year for that specific volume. You're going to want to get the book publication information and the item URL for BHL. So where do you find this information? We're going to go back to BHL. This is volume 2 of the book I just uploaded. If you're looking at the book, there's a Show Info tab. This tab will give you all of the bibliographic information you need. You can get the book title, the publication details, the volume number, if there is a volume number, that's in the drop-down menu here, and the year for the volume. That'll be in the year field on this Show Info tab. This Show Info tab also shows you who the holding institution is. That's the institution that contributed the book, and in this case, it's Missouri Botanical Garden. And it also gives you the copyright status for the book. In this case, it's public domain, and that's going to be important later, so I wanted to show you where you can find that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get the title information. The title information is going to go in 2 places. It's going to go both in the album title as well as the album description. Now, for the title of the album, we want to try to keep it short. So if you have a long title like we do here, you just want to take the shortest part of it for the actual album title. So here I'm just going to take everything before the colon here, the short part of it, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come into the organizer and I'm going to add that as the album title. Now, if you are working on a book that is a volume, you're also going to add the volume number. So I've got volume 2 here, and you're going to want to add the year for that volume. And as we saw over in the Show Info tab, that's 1823. So you're going to add all of that for the album title. Now we're also going to fill out the description field. For this one, copy the entire title that you see there. That's part 1. Part 2 is the publication information. So come in and copy all of this publication information. And then the last thing is you're going to want to grab the item URL. So you can grab that from your browser, copy and paste it in. So that is all of the bibliographic information that you need for your album description. The next thing that we're going to want to do is change the licensing for these images. We need the license for the images to match the license that is in BHL. So, as we've already said, only public domain or no known copyright books are eligible for Flickr. How do you determine whether it's public domain or no known copyright? Well, I just showed you where the copyright status is listed for the book, so that's where you can find it. But public domain books in BHL will either have a license of specifically public domain, that's what the book we're working on had, or they will say not in copyright. So for any public domain book that has the status of public domain or not in copyright, it's going to get the public domain work mark in Flickr. Now, for no known copyright books, these are books that through a due diligence search, the contributing institution determined that the copyright was not renewed, so there are no known copyright restrictions. The status in BHL is going to read no known copyright restrictions as determined by the scanning institution. Now, any of these due diligence books are going to get the CC BY or Creative Commons Attribution license in Flickr. So those are the various licenses that you may come across and what you need to add to the images based on what the license is in BHL. So again, from this tab, I can find the copyright and usage information. It says it's public domain. So that means that these images should have the public domain mark in Flickr. So I'm going to go to Batch Edit, Change Licensing, and I'm going to click Public Domain Work and change license. So that will change the license for all of these images to match what is in BHL and to be correct. So we're going to let that apply to all of the images. And when we're done, we can hit thanks. And now we're pretty much done with this process. The last thing that I'll point out that you can do is the little album cover that you have. It just automatically selects the first image in the grouping to be the thumbnail for that. You can change it if you want. So for example, if I wanted this image to be my album cover instead, I can click and drag it over and add it there and change the thumbnail for the album. So at this point, when you're done with all of these steps and you're happy with it, you hit save, and that will save your album. And once the saving is complete, you'll be taken to the albums and collections screen that's going to show you all of the albums that we have in Flickr and all of the collections that we have. So our saving completed. So now from the screen, you can see, I see the album that I just created here. And then over here on the left hand side are all of the collections. So the last thing that we have to do is add this album to the appropriate collections. Now, just to make sure it's clear, albums in Flickr are comprised of individual images, while collections are comprised of individual albums or other collections. So for this, we created an album of images, and now we're going to add that to the appropriate collections. Now, every album that you create in Flickr should be added to at least 3 collections. They're listed here. The first is you need to add it to the appropriate BHL contributor collection. Every album should be added to the BHL books collection, and you need to add the album to the appropriate subject collection. So let's go over what that looks like. So first, we're going to start with contributor. So every institution has a contributor collection in Flickr. That contributor collection, you can see them all here. Each institution is listed. These collections include the albums in Flickr for all of the books that we have in Flickr that were contributed by that institution. So you're going to need to add your album to the collection for the contributor who digitized it in BHL. So again, as I showed you, looking over in BHL, we saw that the holding institution was Missouri Botanical Garden. So we need to add this to the collection for Missouri Botanical Garden. So you're going to scroll down, you're going to find the Missouri Botanical Garden collection and expand it. And to add albums to collections, you click and drag and add them over into the album area. And it may take a minute or two for that upload to happen, but once it's complete, you'll see the album added there. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Secondly, every album needs to be added to the BHL Books collection. So you see that one here. Now, I will tell you that the BHL Books collection is very large and it takes a long time for albums to get added to it when you drag it over. So be prepared to wait a while to add it there. For the sake of time for this tutorial, I'm not going to try to add it now, but just be aware that that might happen. And then the last thing you're going to want to do is add the album to the subject that it relates to. So for example, this book was a botanical book. It's about plants. So I'm going to want to add it to the flowering plants collection. So again, click and drag and add it over into that collection. Feel free to explore the other collections that we have too. And if you see another one that seems applicable, go ahead and add your album to it. So at this point, we are almost done. The last thing that you just need to do is any final cleanup that might need to happen within Flickr itself. So for example, the main thing here is rotating images. So I showed you at the time of upload, if all of the images were oriented the wrong way, you had the option to orient them all in another way at the time of upload. But let's say that only maybe 2 of the images that you uploaded were oriented the wrong way. You're not going to want to orient all images in a different way just to address those 2. But what you can do is once the item has been uploaded to Flickr, you can change the orientation within the actual Flickr interface. So For example, I've just gone to our public interface at flickr.com/photos/biodiv library. This is what the public sees when they come here. And this is actually a great example. It just so happens that somebody else is working on uploading images, and you'll see that some of them are oriented the wrong way. So if this were you, what you would need to do is click on the image. You can come in, you're going to click the little edit photo option. You're going to click rotate, and you're going to select the correct orientation that you want, hit rotate photo, and that will orient the photo in the correct direction. So you're going to need to do that for any of the images you uploaded that still need to be oriented the correct way. And then I'll just point out one final thing that you can also do at this point is add tags. So if you didn't have time to add tags during the upload process, or you thought of other tags you want to add, you can add them at this point, and you just click the add tags button. It'll give you the text box. You can add it there. For both of these options, to see add tags and to be able to change the orientation of your image, you must be logged into Flickr in order to see those options. So now we're finished with the upload process. The final thing to do is to close the loop on Gemini. So let's go back to that Gemini issue that we were working on where we identified this album. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to leave a comment indicating that you've uploaded the requested book and providing a link to the album for that book in the BHL Flickr. So to do that, go to Flickr, go to View Albums, and you can see this is the album that we just uploaded, volume 2. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to grab my album link. I'm going to come back into the Gemini issue. I'm going to say volume 2 uploaded, include my link, and add a comment. Now, if you are a new uploader, as part of this comment, you would also tell your mentor, I am ready for this album to be QA'd. So let's say I'm a new uploader and I was assigned to Joe as my mentor. So I'll say, Joe, this album is now ready for you to QA. And I'll add my comment. And then like we've already said, if you're a new uploader, your mentor is also going to be assigned to this issue. So your mentor will get an email telling them that you've left this comment saying the album is ready for QA. They'll go in, they'll look at the album, they'll QA it. If there were any problems, they will add a comment for you to tell you what you need to fix. You can fix it, and then it will be complete. If it all looks good, they'll leave a comment for you and they'll say, this looks good. You can close the issue. So that's if you're a new uploader. But if you're not a new uploader, you should still come in and add a comment with a link to the album to say that you are finished. And then I'll just reiterate again, if you're a new uploader, if you run into any problems during this upload process, leave comments on the Gemini issue for your mentor, and they can help you out that way. All right, once you're done, you've left your comment, the last thing to do is mark the issue as complete. So you're going to go to resolution, you're going to hit complete, check, and now this is done. You've told everybody this ticket is now complete, this has been uploaded to Flickr, and that's it. So congratulations, you're finished. Thank you for uploading to the BHL Flickr. Just a couple final housekeeping things to go over. Deleting images. So there may occasionally be a situation where you need to delete an image from Flickr. This is rare though. You should only delete an image from Flickr if the images were uploaded in violation of our Flickr policy. For example, let's say you accidentally uploaded a book from a non-participating BHL partner institution. Then it's going to need to be deleted, taken down. Another example might be if you accidentally upload a text page to Flickr instead of an illustration, then you're going to need to delete it. And then the final situation might be that an image uploads with errors. So let's say Flickr has a hiccup, and for some reason the metadata that's supposed to automatically be passed with the upload process doesn't get passed. In that case, we're going to need to delete the images and start again so that that metadata gets passed. So these are really the only 3 situations where you should be deleting images from Flickr. If you have one of these situations and you need to delete an image, go to the instructions for deleting images at that last link, s.si.edu/BHL Flickr delete, and follow the instructions there. Do not just delete images from Flickr without following those instructions. There are a couple of things that need to happen when we delete images, so you need to closely follow those instructions if you need to delete something. All right. And then the last thing is if you need support. So I've already explained how those of you who are new uploaders can use Gemini and comments to your mentor to get support. But also at any point, if you have questions or want to get in touch with me or other Flickr uploaders, you can use the BHL Flickr listserv at bhl-flickr@si-listserv.si.edu. Now, everybody who is on the Flickr upload group is subscribed to this listserv. So it's a great way that you can ask questions of other uploaders to get support. And we will also send out any announcements or updates related to Flickr that we need to through that listserv. So definitely make sure that you're paying attention to messages from the listserv and that you use it if you need support. So that's it. Thank you again for uploading to our Flickr, and be sure to reach out via the listserv if you have any questions.